So, the way I fell into my religion, and like, there's a reason that I believe the things that I believe. I wasn't raised as a member of my church. I was literally, I was 22, I think, or 23, and a friend of mine said you should pick a church and go to one, and I kind of had respect for that guy. And I worked at 7-Eleven at the time. I worked from midnight till 8 o'clock in the morning. And so that particular Sunday, I got off at 8 o'clock in the morning. I drove to a little area of town where I knew there was 3 or 4 churches. Like one in every corner and like one in the middle of a drive or something. Anyway, and I just picked one at random. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And I came across one that had a big brass sign. It said, "Visitors Welcome. Church Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints." I thought, that's the one for me. I'm a visitor. I'm just visiting. I'm not coming back. I just said I'd go one time, and so this is it. So I go inside. I check. There's a wall there with some pamphlets and things on it. So I read 1 or 2 of those. I'm like, oh, one of these guys is a heart surgeon. That's good. You can have blood transfusions here. I like that. Okay, well, but there's nobody around because it's like 8:30, between 8:30 and 9 o'clock in the morning. Somebody was there because the door was unlocked, but I didn't see that person. So I look around. I go to leave, and my keys are dangling in the dash of my car, and the doors are locked. So this is before cell phones were really a big thing, not like the one I'm talking to you on right now. So I went with the cell phone, or I went inside to use their phone that was on the wall, and I called the locksmith. I had a 1-800 number. So I'm talking to a call center in Vancouver, and I'm in Prince George. I'm trying to describe where I am, and I don't really know. I know I'm on this corner and that corner, and there's a church there. I don't normally go, right? I don't know the address. And people are starting to walk in now, and I'm embarrassed because I'm on the phone. I'm like, I locked my keys in my car. I'm so sorry. And they didn't care. They were fine. So I said to... Anyway, so the tow truck's on its way, and the one guy says, if you got 65 different keys, you can get any car in town. And I said, that's really useful information, but I've only got one set of keys, and it's in the dash, so I guess I'll just wait for the locksmith. He says, let's try mine. Now, I thought that was a ridiculous idea, but I had an hour to kill before the locksmith got there. So we tried his key, and nothing, what I expected. But the guy standing next to him, he had a GM, and I had a Ford. And his just popped it open just like that. So, anyway, so I go back inside. I call the locksmith, cancel that. People are starting to pull into the parking lot now, so I can't really leave like I wanted to because it's getting crowded and it's hard to leave when people are coming into the parking lot. So, that's fine. I sit through the session. I go to the back of the room, or the back of the chapel. And there's a guy there that said, oh, hey, my name's so-and-so, and there's a lesson later. There's a lesson, yep, and you're in it. Oh, okay then. His name is Frank. So we go through the session. I've never been to a church session like that before. I had been to churches before, but the ones I'd been to were like Pentecostal type things where people would scream and stamp their feet, and a pastor would get up there and say you wanted lots of money and God to give you a big house. That was what he said a lot, that pastor that I've seen before. Anyway, so I'm at the Church of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, and it's, we sing a song, we have some snacks, the water and the bread. We sing some more songs, a little girl gets up and gives a speech, and then another couple of random people got up and gave talks on something. That was a different type of church service. I've never been to one like that before. I thought, oh, well, that's interesting. I've forgotten all about the stupid lesson, and I'm tired. I've worked from midnight till 8 o'clock in the morning. And so I get to leave. Oh, hey, Frank, come on back to my class. So I go back to Frank's class, and we learned about the first vision that day, which was, for me, a revelation. I'd never heard that before. I thought, wait a second. Somebody actually talked to God and Jesus Christ and got some actual information on what we should be doing right now. And like, yep, that's what happened. Okay. Now, I didn't believe it at the time, but they had my interest. And so at the end of the lesson, I asked where could I find a copy of that book. They said, well, here, just take this one. This was like a old copy that had been given to the church to use for lessons like this, and it had Meeting House Library stamped on the bottom of it, and that was fine. So I'm stealing this guy's Bible, but I don't really want to steal the Bible, and I didn't want to come back, but like, I had asked to learn more about what was in the book, so the fact that he lent me a copy, like, now I've got to bring it back the next weekend. And so I did. I brought it back next weekend. I brought it back next weekend. I brought it back next weekend. Now I stole it. It's in my other room there. But I brought that same Book of Mormon back for like 2 years before I stole it. So, which is, yeah, it's fine. They're okay with it. But I took it home. I read it a little bit. I prayed. Moroni did not show up. I was very disappointed. But the very next day, my wife came to me. She wasn't my wife at the time, but she's my wife now. And she had the strangest dream last night, and she described pretty much verbatim everything I read, which is pretty odd. I hadn't expected that. Now, I didn't clue in at the time either that this is like connecting the dots, but it was definitely a very big coincidence. And life progressed, and eventually I became a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It took years of me investigating and getting my life straightened out so that I could do that. And my family was not in favor of it at all. They all thought I was joining a cult and I should not be involved. And whatever. They meant well. Now that I'm trans, they really wish I go back and just do the LDS thing and stop doing the trans thing. But, so yeah, that's how I got involved with the church. And then years later, I've seen things and witnessed things and been part of things that were significant, that were spiritual, that happened, that I can never deny I saw this or participated in that, or that I've seen this happen, right? I've seen it. I'm not going to go into the details because it doesn't matter. It's just my word now to you. But what does matter is that I cannot deny what I believe or what I've seen, and there's power in the church, like actual power. Good things, bad things, it's there. So then what do I do, right? Because I'm trans, and eventually I've come to the conclusion that I'm trans, and I can't do anything about that. I can't undo that. I don't want to ignore it anymore either. I've ignored it for freaking years, pretending that it wasn't there, and it was the whole time. And so I just gotta live the rest of my life in shame? I don't think so. I have to decide that because I've embraced my entirety, my true whole self is part of me now. Now I'm evil suddenly, or I'm a bad influence, or I don't know. I stopped loving God. I didn't stop loving God. God stopped loving me. Why would he stop loving me? He sent me here. He knew I was this the whole time. This is not a revelation to him. God is like, oh, he's trans? Who knew? God knew. Don't kid yourself. God knew. There's millions of people like me here. That's not an accident. That's an act of God. So don't tell me he doesn't know. But I don't know what to do with that anymore. So I'm just doing my best. That's all I got.